Good morning, my friends. Welcome to today's training. Today, we are doing another episode of the Welcoming You series where I'm giving you guidance and inspiration and tools and whatnot and helping you welcome who you are and what you're going through into your world. So, if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Bircher, and I help codependents rediscover their well being and their happiness after codependency by healing the trauma bond, by helping them come to know, love, and live who they are, and create happy, healthy relationships in their world. So before we get to today's topic, I'm going to share this out to the community. The community is your safe haven where you can find guidance, support, and tools that assist you in breaking free from your codependency and actually discovering a life that you want to enjoy. Life built on happiness and built on your own principles and values that matter to you so you can have happy, healthy relationships. So I'm going to share that out there, and boom, there it is. So good morning. Let me know your thoughts on today's training. Let me know that you're here in the comments. Let's do this. So the topic of how to work with your healing journey so you don't get stuck in healing. One thing we tend to do a lot in self-help in general, or therapy, is get stuck constantly trying to work on ourselves. We get kind of trapped in the idea that if I keep working on myself, I'm going to get better and then I'm going to get more of what I want. When in reality, healing is about a transition from one state of being to a different state of being, and from that new state of being, or what I call state B, you go out and create more of what you want in your world as a result or an effect of that change. And the way this happens, it has to do with something called a reference point. So I'm going to switch us over to the drawing screen. I'm going to draw. So let's see here. Let's make sure I've got this working. Okay, healing. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So, man. All right. So there's this thing in my approach to healing called a reference point. So I'm going to call that an RP. What a reference point is basically something, an object your brain uses in order to help it understand its experience and understand what to predict and what to do with a particular thing or situation or experience it's having. So we all have reference points for everything. One of the easiest demonstrations of a reference point is to recall the time you tasted chocolate and listen to how your body responds to that. That is a reference point. Or if you start thinking about freshly baked bread, what your body does to that. Or when you've been driving along and then a song comes over the radio that was like played at your high school dances and all that comes back. We're dealing with reference points because that's what the brain's doing. It's going, oh, this is related to that, and this produces these feelings, these memories, these experiences. So reference points are at use in everything we do everything we experience in our reality, including trauma, including love, skills, talents, confidence, identity, our value. All of that is influenced by reference points. So in healing, a lot of times people look at healing as this like contiguous timeline. So on this timeline, we're going along and life is good, and then there's a big event, and then suddenly we're frozen and we're stuck in this pain and this trauma and this rumination. And then we think that one day we'll heal and then we'll be back to our normal, right? This right here, the space between what we're trying to get to and from where we've been, I'm going to change the color here. So this is this was the event, and this is where we want to be. This is what we would call healing. We think it's a linear process, and then our journey is to get through this period of time and effort and work to get to the healing over here. This is problematic because what it does is it doesn't communicate an actual reality that's going on. In reality, healing is more like this. So, the center of our experience here, this red blot, that's the event. And that event created a reference point. That reference point tells us to feel fear or anxiety or to freeze or to panic or to run or to withdraw, whatever it might be. In real healing, what's going on when we're actually healing is we're going through a period of reorganizing this attachment or this reference point with new experience. So eventually the reference point evolves through experience and through tools and practice into a new reference point where we feel calm, indifferent, regulated, and that we've returned to basically an equilibrium of peace and safety and play. It's really what's going on here is this. And in this process, we're, again, writing this reference point into a different one. When we look at healing this way, it makes life a lot simpler for us because it explains why we feel like we go back to square one. It feels like why we fall off the bandwagon. What's really going on is when that happens, we're just coming back. I'm going to change the color here. We're just coming back to here and passing through for another round of reorganization. And round we go. Sometimes this process is quick. Sometimes this process is slow. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you continue to allow yourself to grow beyond that, grow your awareness of and shift your perspective of that event or that reference point by allowing your body to shift the way it feels about it. So it's really a psychosomatic experience. And initially we have anxiety, and then we start to transition towards more peace or more calm or indifference. And this happens through practicing of tools, gaining better knowledge, gaining experience that adds to our awareness, that even sometimes contradicts our previous experience. That it happens because we start differentiating experiences from one another. So like we had a really bad relationship in the past, and we differentiate that from our current relationships, and we can see that we have had healthy relationships and unhealthy ones, and we can tell the difference between them. That's all healing work. That's all a growth or a maturation, a return to the, let's see, where are we? We're there. All right. We'll return to the play, to the safety, to the peace that is our natural equilibrium. If we approach healing this way, then it really fundamentally no longer about fixing anything. I'm gonna fix that here. There we go. It's not about fixing, because in this timeline up here, we gotta fix this so we can get to here. Really what we're doing is we're discovering and we're evolving. That's it. That's all we're doing. That's all that's necessary for us to go from the old reference point to the new reference point, is to discover, to evolve, to adapt, and to grow, and to discover what else comes after that. Discovery is the solution to getting out of being stuck in healing. Because when we start learning that, hey, who am I without this? Who am I beyond that? Who am I as this or that? We start tapping back into who we really are, and we start being able to heal, we start being able to live beyond the healing that we're in. Good morning, Jasmine. And this empowers us to move forward rather than get stuck in the safety zone, or the comfort zone rather, of just constantly working on myself. I'd rather discover myself and discover who I am beyond these things as I work with tools that are appropriate for what I'm working on. So if we're dealing with trauma, then we need to be dealing with somatic-based regulation tools and movements, and co-regulation environments where we can move through that energy and get in contact with it, allow it to expand, allow our primal self to move through its need that restores its safety and that restores its power so that it can protect itself and either fight or flee from the threat. If it's discovering who we are beyond codependency, then it's about an identity and it's about attachment and it's about needs along with trauma and working those things out, discovering them through the curiosity of who am I outside of codependency? Who would I be without the love addiction? Who would I be without this shame? Because now we're inquiring of ourselves about who we are and who we want to be. And then we can use our power to choose and act that out and discover what we think about it and make adjustments from there if we want. That's what healing is really about. It's about a transition from a place, a state A to a state B through an evolution of discovery. That's all we're doing. So when because I got stuck in the healing paradigm for years. And then I was like, I'm kind of tired of this. I'm kind of tired of always working on myself. I was like, I would like to go out and play. And so through the play, I started to realize that, hey, if I'm out there discovering things and playing and being more curious, things really work a lot easier for me. And I started finding the healing really taking place, and I didn't have to do all this constant focus on my wounds. I got to focus on who I want to be and discovered that I don't actually have to resolve everything in order to also move forward in my world. Now, there are things I do have to resolve in order to move further in the world and further in who I want to be, but that's just part of the journey. So, my friends, don't get stuck in the healing trap of thinking you got to resolve everything before you can move on and discover more things in your world. You can do both, and often by doing both, you'll actually perpetuate your healing. You discover more of who you are, more joy in your world, and you're actually getting the return you're looking for on your effort. This is how we welcome our healing into our world. We welcome in our discovery of who we are and what really matters to us in our lives. So, that is it. It's a short one today. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate you. Remember that you're worthy. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving. You're worth knowing, loving, keeping, and being known. Being seen, valued, and loved for who you are. So keep yourself safe out there, my friends, and I will see you guys in our next training.